This is Arkies in the Beltway, your look at national politics and the Arkansans influencing the discussions. I'm Alex Thomas, Washington Correspondent for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, reporting from the nation's capital. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of February 23rd, 2025. Budget resolutions are on the top of minds in the Senate and House of Representatives. The Senate approved a $340 billion plan in the early morning hours of Friday. Senators John Boozman of Rogers and Tom Cotton of Little Rock joined 50 other Senate Republicans in supporting this blueprint. Kentucky's Rand Paul, the only dissenting Republican vote. The budget resolution calls on Congress to reduce spending across multiple areas, with a $150 billion boost to defense and a $175 billion increase to border security. The plan does not detail how the money will be spent, instead setting targets through fiscal year 2034. Senate Democrats vocal in opposing the plan, saying the cuts will hurt agencies and services. House Republicans will consider its budget proposal in the new week, but the conference is already facing pushback to possible changes affecting Medicaid and nutrition programs. The House returns to Washington, D.C. on Monday after a week off. As for the Senate, they were active on Capitol Hill last week. Congress's upper chamber on Thursday approved Kash Patel as FBI director and Howard Lutnick as Commerce Secretary. Patel, one of President Donald Trump's more controversial nominees. Senators pressed Patel during the nomination process over his past criticisms of the FBI and concerns Patel will act with consideration to the president's best interest. Senator Cotton has a new book out. 7 Things You Can't Say About China looks at China's growing international prowess, and Cotton's concerns the nation could supersede the United States as the leading global force. The senator says the book serves as an alarm over what he describes as a grave threat, hoping people, regardless of political party, pay attention.
Regrettably, if you go back, especially to the end of the Cold War, there was this belief that America had triumphed and there were no alternatives to the American way of life as you'd had in the past, and we could all just get along and the lion would lie down with the lamb and all would be good. And that's not Communist China's approach at all.
An essential component of restricting China's influence is the United States' ongoing support of Taiwan. Since Taiwan split from mainland China in 1949, China has made numerous military threats as acts of intimidation against the independent island. Cotton sees a possible Chinese seizure of Taiwan as a springboard for China to expand its global influence, noting Taiwan's current majority stake in semiconductor manufacturing.
Even in a brief, inconclusive war over Taiwan would lead almost instantly to global depression, because that semiconductor manufacturing in almost all likelihood be destroyed or at least severely damaged. It might be even worse if China were to win and gain access to it all. You'd also have probably an immediate severing of most economic ties between China and the United States and the rest of the West. Unfortunately, those ties are extensive. So you'd see Arkansans losing their life savings in a stock market crash, mass unemployment, shortages on shelves. China would be hurt too, but China knows that its ultimate ambitions can't be achieved without gaining control of Taiwan.
The book comes amid questions regarding the United States' foreign policy approach with Trump back in the White House. Trump has implemented a series of tariffs in the name of protecting America's standing in international trade. His administration has also freezed funds for the United States' international efforts, with much attention on the U.S. Agency for International Development, which supports foreign assistance. In a February 2021 report, Khan praised USAID and other agencies as instruments against Chinese influence. The senator telling the Democrat-Gazette that the U.S. needs to fund efforts that are both economically sound and viable.
I think the pause in funding of foreign aid and the identification of aid spending that doesn't advance America's interests is welcome. I also think that the administration working with Congress will try to make sure that our dollars in the future are going towards things that advance our strategic interest, most importantly, countering Communist China.
One section of Cotton's book recaps the failed Sun Paper deal in Clark County. The company dropped a nearly $2 billion project in March 2020, citing the trade dispute between the U.S. and China as a reason behind the decision. In his book, Khan wrote that then-Governor Asa Hutchinson made a request to the senator to meet with a Chinese consul general in Arkansas about the plan. Cotton refused such a meeting. The senator says he isn't opposed to foreign companies bringing jobs to the natural state, as long as it's not Chinese companies.
China doesn't view investment in America as simply an economic opportunity for China to make money and for local economies to do well. China views all those investments as a way, again, to get leverage over America.
The Democrat-Gazette did reach out to Hutchinson about the matter. The former governor defended his actions, saying leaders should not hesitate to talk to officials from other countries. He added he met with various international councils during his time as governor in hopes of bringing production back to the United States. And that'll do it for this edition of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of February 23rd, 2025. You can stay up to date with all news involving Arkansas at arkansasonline.com. Special thanks, as always, to the team down in Little Rock. I'm Alex Thomas, and this has been Arkies in the Beltway. Thanks for listening.